Okay, I think we'll make a start. So a very warm welcome to you to Tech Wednesday for our August edition. Thank you ever so much for joining us this evening. There's been many new faces join the Tech Wednesday group this past couple of weeks, so really great to see some new faces joining us for the very first time. So thank you ever so much. A quick intro from myself. So my name is Stephanie and I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Bruntwood SciTech Birmingham. Tech Wednesday is our monthly meetup and we meet on the third Wednesday of every month. Obviously we are virtual and have been for the last 18 months, but we're very, very excited to announce that September we'll be back in person. So thank you ever so much for sticking with us throughout this. And I'll share some information on September's meetup at the end of the session, which we're really looking forward to. Throughout the session, if you would like to make any comments or continue the conversation online, you can do. Please do follow us on Twitter at Tech Wednesday and use the hashtag TechWeds. You can kind of promote any of the speakers on there and shout about what we're talking about. And if you've got any follow-up questions after the event, then please do feel free to use that hashtag, and that's where we can find all of our conversations online. I'm joined this evening by Theo and Khadijeh. So thank you ever so much for both of you for joining me this evening. You won't listen to my voice for much of the session. As you can tell, I'm suffering with a very horrendous cold right now. So you'll be very glad that I'm passing over the baton very, very shortly. But thank you both for joining us this evening. As I mentioned, in a short moment, I'll pass over to Theo and he will talk us through his From Survive to Thrive talk. So Theo is a self-proclaimed entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. He's had a bit of a challenging time over the last 18 months with COVID, having a huge impact on his journey. And we'll hear all about those challenges and how he's managed to turn it around, and most recently being crowned the best new business at the UK Business Awards 2021. So really great story that we'll hear from Theo very, very shortly. Then we'll pass over to Khadijeh, and Khadijeh and I will have a bit of a chat around the IO app. Again, a new journey that started in the last 12 months. So really excited to hear from you both about how these challenging times have led to where we are today. So Khadijeh has a really impressive career journey, working for nearly 10 years in multinational companies in lots of different countries. And as I say, we'll hear about her entrepreneur journey, as well as how the IO app started in the last 12 months in a short while. And then just before the end, as always, I've got a couple of things just to put on your radar. And again, as I say, some top secret information about our September meetup. You guys are the first ones to hear about it. So really excited to share that with you. I'm aware that Theo's got to drop off a little bit earlier, so please do make sure that you pop your questions in the chat box for him as we go along, just because we want to make sure that we get those answered for you before the end of the session, although I'm sure that he'd be happy to follow up with any of you afterwards if you don't have those questions right now on the tip of your tongue. But without further ado then, I'm going to pass straight over to you, Theo, if you'd like to share your screen and talk to us all about FranScape.
Thank you very much. Hopefully, is this working? We've got some nods. Is that all working? Woohoo, good start. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I'm actually really slightly annoyed that I'm missing the first in-person one. I'm like, oh, come on. Because COVID has been very interesting for us all, but hey ho, hopefully this will be a story of hope and a bit of kind of faith that those of you who've had a bit of a challenging time, it doesn't necessarily need to be that way. So yeah, my name's Theo, and I'm going to start my story slightly in an odd place, but as you'll get to know me, odd is definitely a theme that flows through my life. So in 2016, I bought a swim school. Literally teaches kids to swim, and actually one of the largest swim schools in the UK. And when there's not COVID, and you'll hear this caveat a lot, when there's not COVID, we would teach about 20,000 children every single week across the UK in hundreds of pools. So really, really big business. And that business is a franchise business. So we operate from a network of small family-run swim schools, typically husband and wife teams all across the UK. It's a really, really great business. And it's one of those things that we sell. I can honestly say, if you come to a swim time session and it all goes well, you will leave with a life skill that means you can save your own life. And I think that's really cool, because swimming is the only sport that will save your life. We went through an amazing technical transformation. And one of the things when I bought Swim Time was it was a largely paper-based business. And for those of us who are in a tech space, you will probably feel my wrath and pain as I tell you this. When I bought the business, it would take on average 15 minutes to book a client in. 15. That is crazy. And I remember saying to my team, if I can buy a Tesla in 60 seconds in a mobile phone, which you can, how the hell can that not be the case for something as basic as a swimming lesson? I said to my team, right, I want to fix this. We've got to try and book somebody in 60 seconds using a mobile phone. And that's exactly what we did. And we went through an incredible journey. And then the global pandemic happened. And like anything in my space, I got screwed, insert expletive that goes there depending on how much alcohol you've given me, to the tune of around about £3.5 million level of screwed, to the tune of you slam into a brick wall like you cannot believe. I don't care what anyone says, you can't teach swimming online. I've seen people try things in the bath. No, it's never going to happen. Let's just forget about that. So we'd been through this incredible journey. As you can see, this is our Stripe data of how much we were taking in, and it just slammed like into a flat line. And on the right is our Google Analytics data, just like bumbling on the bottom for months and months and months. And yeah, I'll be honest, it was a horrendous period of time where you're kind of thinking, well, what on earth do you do? Because as I'm sure you've heard, and I'm more than happy to say this, a £10,000 government grant sounds great. It does nothing when you have tens and tens of thousands of OPEX running every month. It doesn't even touch the side. So the government says, here, have a load of free debt. Great. That doesn't get away from the bones of the problem that you have to pay that debt back. So what do? Well, we realized that this technology we'd created had applications across multiple kind of verticals, because franchising is quite similar in many ways, whether you're buying a tasty snack from a fast food outlet or you're buying an education or some tutoring. It's basically the same process. And we realized that we could actually provide this to our market who had been through similar pains that we've been through. And out of the ashes of COVID, where everything was so terrible, FranScape was born. And before I tell you a little bit about what we did, it's important to just talk slightly about the franchising market, because I appreciate that it may not be something that you're overly familiar with. In the UK, it's a £17 billion industry annually. There's an amalgamation of types of businesses that franchise. In the US, it's a $787 billion business. We've all heard of McDonald's, but there's loads of things that are franchised: home care, oven cleaning, window cleaning. You'd be amazed the kind of businesses. And the businesses that I know a lot about are what we call SMEs. And what I mean by that definition would have a network turnover. So what I mean by network is the amalgamation of all of the revenue of all the franchisees between 0 and 100 million annually. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about. And these guys were just like me, and they really struggled with rubbish tech. And I know this because I was one. And when I went through my journey and through this transformation, it's completely transformed our business. The value of the business trebled in about 2-3 years. We've become multi-award winning. It's been the most beautiful transformation for us. And I knew a lot of my peers in franchising felt the same, but there were some problems. Firstly, high capital cost to get this tech. Secondly, lack of expertise. And thirdly, the suppliers were rubbish, really, 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 really bad. So we decided that we could do something different, and we wanted to create something that was an off-the-shelf, a SaaS that we could just turnkey. And that is what FranScape is. So what do? We digitally transform a franchise network. And FranScape is a CRM, customer relationship management system, with an ERP, enterprise resource planning. And it does a number of really cool things. First thing is it creates an off-the-shelf turnkey customer journey solution. So if you're a franchise business and you don't have the tech you want, with our system, with no upfront cost and no hardware, we'll have a mobile responsive booking engine like that, white labeled. And you can see some of the graphics, what we can do. We can help those franchise brands plan their resources really intelligently. So if, for example, like in our case with swimming, and you need to match children with swimming teachers, we use really clever KPIs and machine learning type stuff to do some amazing matching and things. We can split royalties around different payments. I'll show you how that works in a second. And just generally, just really great KPIs to help people be really profitable. It's an incredible thing. The best bit about all of this is we do this from as little as £10 per user per month. And our transaction fees for those that use our payment gateway pay 3% and 30p, which is very similar to PayPal for those of you who've looked into these kind of things. So we've tried to really benchmark with other people. Now, this is our USP. And what I'm about to show you is not complicated. And I still find it very, very odd that this is unique, but I can assure you this is unique. So in franchising, it's really common that the franchisor takes a percentage of revenue. So if you're McDonald's Corporation and one of your restaurants sells a burger, a percentage of that cost, that Big Mac, goes back to McDonald's Corporation. It's normally between 10 and 15%. Now, unbelievably, the way this is managed in many, many businesses is paper-based. Crazy, right? So what happens is, at the end of the month, the restaurant, if we use a McDonald's example, they're a bit more sophisticated, but for ease of use, they would say, I've sold 1,000 Big Macs for £1,000. They owed 10%. So the franchisee needs to pay 100 quid. And then some money is wired. That is crackers. It's open to fraud, really slow, and just an utterly and totally ghastly system. Here comes FranScape. So what happens is the customer pays for their product or service through FranScape, which is white labeled as the brand. And then we've got some really clever tech that splits that money depending on the relationship between the franchisee and the franchisor. And we put the right amount in the franchisee's bank account and the right amount in the franchisor's bank account. That's it. That's our USP. It shouldn't be our USP, but it is. And no one else in the world can do it quite like we can. So we feel it's an amazing thing that we've been able to bring this to market for people who don't have the money to develop this from scratch, because it is actually quite complex. And the other thing that we wanted to do was enable customers to book in just 60 seconds, right? Now, I know that sounds like a bit of a cliche. I'm so confident I'm going to show you. So on the right-hand side is a mobile screen recording of how you could book a swimming lesson with SwimTime. I'm going to run this and talk you through how fast this is. This is quite difficult. I talk quickly anyway, but this is quite hard. So the customer enters their location, or they're using the GPS location on their device if they consent to it, and they receive a series of venues that are nearest to where they live. They can click on them and they see the availability of various products and services, the price, the date, the time, and whether there's live availability based on our occupancy data. The customer makes their choice, they're logged in, and then we capture various bits of information like who their swimmer is, when they'd like to start swimming, how much the cost is, there's either a card on file or they add one, and then they can go through and really basically review what they've booked. So where am I going, what date, what time, who with. The minute they hit that yellow button, done. Day and night, 365, any device. Now, to put numbers on this, so when we came out of lockdown with SwimTime, when it really got going in May, we booked 35,000 customers in an average from start to finish, so hitting our website to leaving, in 1 minute and 58 seconds using this tech. Absolutely extraordinary. So you imagine trying to manage that kind of scale of customer base with like people and agents and call centers versus this. It's just absolutely nuts. So this is the kind of thing that we offer as a white label turnkey solution. It's really, really cool. How do we do it? Well, it's a proprietary set of IP, obviously. I've got a team of just 5 people, which is interesting. We're very stressed and very tired. As you can tell, I drink a lot of coffee. And we have really great industry knowledge. But the key thing is we've bootstrapped. And this is one thing I would like to share with anybody who's building a tech business. For God's sake, bootstrap. So we use as many AWS services as we can get our hands on, because they're just turnkey and we can API into them. Our payment gateway, we've got a white label version of Stripe. We just bolt onto their API and build on that. And we use Google Cloud for all of our mapping, kind of visualization, like location API. And we bootstrap as much as we can. And that's how we've been able to grow really, really fast. So although it sounds like simple, we're actually sort of linking in with what, these A players, these kind of best of the breeds of what they do. And our commercial model is really, really cool. So we have 3 forms of revenue. The first is a license fee, so a sort of per seat fee of between £10 and £35 per user per month. The second one is what gets really exciting for us. So the payment gateway, we actually make a margin, and we make a margin on the entire network turnover. So we take a very small slice of absolutely everything. So I've negotiated with Stripe wholesale rates that are below what their book price is. And I've actually negotiated steps in the future as we increase volume. So I know we can get margin gain. And a typical client for us will be turning over between 3 and 5 million GBP a year, to give you an idea. And from that, with everything mixed in, a good sized client for us is worth about 100 grand a year recurring. Crazy, absolutely crazy. So it's a really interesting proposition, and it's quite sticky revenue as well. We expect to keep clients quite a lot. On top of that, we upsell things like text messages and like consultancy and premium support and websites if they need. But what we're really focusing on is this main sort of gateway of revenue going through. And on the right-hand side, you can see how quickly it's grown for us. So even though we only launched in September and this business is like super new, we've already put through well over, that data's old now already, but well over a million already through the gateway. And it's going up and up and up and up and up. It's quite an amazing journey. So in terms of where we are, we've already had agent investment secured and we're already post-revenue. We launched in September last year properly. We've already got 105 users onboarded, and we've already signed contracts the rest of this year for another 165, which puts us on ARR of just over $500,000 by the end of this year contractually, and platform of 14 mil, which is pretty cool. And then we're already in talks with a major US network at the moment, which would be crazy if we can pull that one off, which is, as you can see on the screen, about 35 million US dollars recurring. So we're just having to think about the moment about how we sort of scale up to meet that, because the growth pipeline for us has been a little bit overwhelming. And yeah, I guess that's everything I wanted to share. I appreciate I probably rattle things through, but I think I only had about 10 minutes, Stephanie. Was that okay on time? I haven't even looked. Oh, I think I am. Not too bad.
Yeah, perfect. Bang on. Thank you ever so much. Obviously, if anybody has any questions, please do populate the chat just now. I've got a couple of questions for you, Theo. A, why don't you think anybody else is doing this? Because the way you've just explained that and how far you've come in 12 months, it does seem mad that you are the only ones doing this in this space.
It's a niche. No one gets out of bed and thinks franchising. That's the answer. They get out of bed and go, fintech, I'm going to make the next Bitcoin thing. It's generally speaking, my advice to anyone thinking about new business, look where everyone's running and go in the opposite direction.
Yeah, well, if there's nobody to compete with, that's the best option, isn't it? And then my other question, hopefully we've got some more coming through, is many of the entrepreneurs and SMEs I speak to, they toy with the idea of offering their product for free in the first couple of months, and they, to get in users and to get traction. Did you do that, or did you just go straight in at paid users? Because it's really impressive in the short space of time that how many users you do have.
No, but I think I'm probably a bit fortunate where, because I'd already used it internally and kind of had a client in inverted commas, when I went to somebody and said, hey, you should buy this, it's kind of already been in use internally. So I don't think that answer should stop people thinking about that logic, because that logic's incredibly sound. I mean, look, we don't charge for onboarding, we don't charge for support, so that kind of breaks that barrier down. But if you compare it to other enterprise platforms, I want to part when I say that. I'm saying that as I'm thinking through, like we use HubSpot and they've obviously got a freemium model, but like certainly the more enterprise grade stuff like your Salesforces and your Oracles, which we're competing against, they wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. But the logic's sound. It's definitely sound.
Yeah, and it's worked,
Yeah, I mean, every situation is unique, right?
Lovely. Okie doke. Well, there doesn't seem to be any questions just yet, but you're going to stick around with us for kind of another 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes or so.
Super. So if you do have any questions for Theo, please do continue to pop them in the chat. Just make sure that your chat is turned on to panelists and attendees so everybody can see the questions. Which is always one of the things that gets caught out. But thank you ever so much for sharing that with us. Really interesting, and yeah, congratulations on that award. So
thank you.
Doing something right. Okie dokie then, let me reshare my screen and we will kick back off. We'll pass over to Khadijeh, and I'll leave the floor to you for you to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Hello and good evening, everybody. Thanks really very much for joining us. Quite excited for our conversation. My name is Khadijeh Rahmani, and I'm the Managing Director at IO App Limited. And education-wise, I am an Aston MBA alumna.
Perfect. Okie doke. So can you share a bit more with us about the IO app then, please?
Yeah, certainly. So IO app, well, IO stands for all-in-one, as we see it here on this slide. So what it's a tech startup based here in Birmingham. But what we do at IO app, we offer a package of customer engagement and loyalty schemes or programs to local independent businesses, or we can say high street stores. The platform or the tool basically enables these businesses in long term to have a real-time communication with their customers, to reward customers very efficiently. So it will give an extra special feelings to their customers. And one example is that customers will receive personalized offerings or promotion, and then how that will happen is through analyzing each customer's shopping behavior. And also let me add here, I always say customers or shoppers are kings, so we do also address them, and how we do that. So we are offering them a mobile application, and in which, using the same application, they can do various features or functions. One is that so using the same application, they can pay, they can collect, track, and redeem all their reward points that have been collected from different local independent businesses. Yeah, that is what we offer at IO App.
Lovely. And what is it about the local independents that drew you to that as your target market, and why a loyalty program? You know, we've seen them for a long time. What is it that's kind of drawn you to that, and what's fresh about the IO app?
Yeah, thanks for this question, because I've been asked the same question very much. I must say that why high street stores, or why local independent businesses? In simple words, I would say this is an untapped market or sector, even though I think over 90% of the businesses in the UK are small size ones. But still there are so much gaps in the market, or so much of services or offerings which can be addressed to this sector. So yeah, I would say it's a niche market and an untapped sector of the local independent businesses, especially for the loyalty programs. But why, the second part of your question, that why we wanted to offer something which is related to the loyalty programs. I mean, again, really, I found it very attractive, this sector of customer loyalty in the UK. I know almost everywhere we go to any shop, or especially the well-established one, the brands, they do have one scheme of the loyalty in place. And you may ask that, okay, so then why still you chose to go for this business, which is the loyalty market? So the niche, or the unique selling point about all your apps offering in regards to the loyalty program is that our tool makes customers to go back to the stores again and again. So we promote that repeated purchases. So we do not want one-time shoppers. And that happens through different features that our platform offers to businesses, as well as shoppers. So so again, we did find a gap in the loyalty schemes, which are, I mean, we know there are so many of them in the market. So we found a gap, and then mixed it with the untapped market of the local independent stores. And yeah, here we are with our target audience and our product.
Yeah, fantastic. And you know, I think as Theo was saying, you know, these big franchises and the big names, they've all got these apps, but we're being encouraged to support our local independent stores, and we've all had that little, you know, business card stamp that we've had to collect our 6 coffees on, and then they get lost after the 5th. So really great that you're, you know, picking up on that and tapping into that market. Thank you ever so much for sharing that.
And let me add to, I mean, you raised really an important point here. So the mobile application that I just referred to it. So we are fully digital, 100% digital. So the problem is that if we do not carry our physical loyalty cards with us, or especially the stamp ones, so we will lose collecting our points or the stamps, right? And also there is no systematic system in place for the businesses to keep record of all these stamps or these points which are collected by shoppers. But at IO, we provide that feature for the businesses, that okay, there is a very clear and a simple system in place, and actually they can tailor it according to their business need or their customer needs, whether, for example, they want an e-stamped loyalty program or they want a point-based loyalty program, but they have this flexibility to choose what program they want and how they want to design their loyalty program. And also, you know, when it comes to the shoppers, they don't have to be worried about carrying all these physical cards around with them and having a tick wallet with them. All it will be in one central place, which is a mobile application. So eventually we want to deliver that message of like why we call it all-in-one. A few features, you get it in one place.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what we all need, isn't it? So cool. Okay. So I mentioned at the beginning that it's kind of all started during COVID, and similarly to Theo, you know, you've had this really impressive career, and then this pandemic's come along. Tell us a bit more about why you started IO during that time.
If I can also add a bit to your question, that why I started the whole journey of entrepreneurship, and also why, I mean, during COVID-19, which a lot of people have been escaping it. So really different reasons. I should say here that I have always been inspired by my father, who has been always, again, running his own business, and using those platforms, he was able to really bring lots of opportunity to a wide range of people around him, and also to contribute very positively to community or the economy that he has been operating his businesses at. But for me, well, I believe, I mean, running my own business, it does give me a good flexibility to have a good balance, again, between my personal life and my career life. You know, they say, well, I mean, it will be financial wise also, it would be I mean, more flexibility, in a better position in most cases. And that passion, it was about, like, I really always wanted to set something, let's say, and as an organization, something positive, and that grow it gradually, which will lead to, again, many things, right? I mean, maybe it would be minor contribution, but again, contributing to improving your economy or the community that you are operating at. For example, if I relate it to IO app, as I just mentioned, also at IO app, our platform or our offerings are 100% digital. Yes, so as by the time we grow more and more, so our contribution into saving environment will be more and more, because we are not having any physical loyalty cards. And whereas we are also able to help local businesses if they have any plastic or physical cards in place, so we can help them to get rid of that. So make everything digitalized. Yeah, and COVID-19, COVID-19 in simple words, if I want to share, is that I decided not to look at that with negative views. I decided to look at it as an opportunity. So I had the business idea of the same IO app before COVID-19 and the whole pandemic started. I mean, I did not give up because we know that especially high street stores, and they were shut down, and then I don't know, back again for a short time, and again suddenly shut down. But I instead went back and I revised the whole research that it was done, that, okay, what is the new need of the market or this sector, or let's say the changes that happen in our shopping approaches or preferences, which I think I can say it's more towards online shopping. I wasn't tapping or considering online shopping before, so I wanted just to consider in a store shopping, but I've added online shopping as well to it. So it's been quite challenging, and I would like to open a bracket here and mention this, and hopefully this will inspire at least one female candidate who is thinking about starting her business. You know, IO app is a tech business, it's a tech startup, and I am with a non-tech background. So this didn't stop me, and I have been challenged, to be very honest, and frankly speaking, I've been challenged that, so how will you survive? Because you are without a tech background. So no, I mean, it's hard knowledge can be learned, and a lot of responsibilities can be delegated. But if you know what is your passion, if you know what do you want to do as part of your business, or what to offer, that's all really. I don't like to use word of woman in tech, which we have been hearing it a lot, because it's equal as male in tech, which we don't hear that male in tech, right? So yeah, it's well, there are some ups and downs, challenges on the way, but yeah, never give up. And so yeah, I mean, going back to your question rather than driving away from it. So I looked at the whole pandemic as an opportunity, honestly.
Yeah, brilliant. I think, you know, so many people have had to pivot their initial ideas, and it's kind of almost, you know, you've had this idea for a long time, and this pandemic's come along and just given you that kickstart, hasn't it, really, to just get going with it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that's why I know a lot of businesses that when I speak to their owners, so they are like, actually, we have been doing better during pandemic. And I know a business that they had the highest turnover, and that was during 2020.
Yeah, I think fortunately, as a tech sector, we've done well out of this, you know, above the hospitalities and, you know, the travel industries, which unfortunately have obviously taken a huge dip. So you picked the right sector to come into is the bottom line. So brilliant. Okay. Well, we'll open up the floor to any questions. I think I did have a question. What did I think of? It will come back to me. It will definitely come back to me. Yes, so please do pop any questions you do have in the chat box or in the Q&A tab just now. And yeah, thank you ever so much, Khadijeh.
My pleasure.
I'll think of that question as it comes along.
Yeah.
So a couple of comments just saying thank you for the presentation, really informative.
I hope everyone enjoyed it. I will drop also my LinkedIn link or address in our chat board, and please feel free to connect with me. And we are also present in terms of IO app at different social media. So follow us, please. Yeah, so we are having lots of amazing surprises, I can say, on the way. Yeah, I've been designing I can say a marketing campaign with lots of questions in it so that audience can answer. And if which is all about the loyalty programs, like how many cards you are holding, or because there are so many statistics that like over 70% of customers, they are just one-time shoppers. They never go back to a store again. So we have been trying to understand this, like from shoppers' perspective, that why this, for example, is happening. What do they think about it? But yeah, so, and also, I mean, not only about following the IO app social media, but I'm more than happy always to help any individual if I can. So please reach out, and yeah.
Fab, yeah. You know, you could probably see just there's a couple more comments coming in saying thank you for your presentation. It's so inspiring and really innovative solution that almost levels consumer tech playing field with bigger retails and incentivize loyalty for smaller businesses. So looks like you're on to a winner. If anyone does have their own, you know, local independent business, how do they get on the app?
Yeah, so sorry, your question is about how onboarding local independent businesses.
Yes.
Yeah, so well, actually, the platform for local independent businesses is a web-based one, and it is under development now. But we have 3 actually lined up who will be joining our MVP phases, and luckily is that they are operating in different sector, because we are not targeting one particular sector. Again, this is another changes that I initially targeted only saloons, and you know, the more research I did, so I said no, any local independent businesses operating at any size, any shape or sector can benefit from this platform. So it's more about the direct approaching the businesses. We are going to start with West Midlands, and particularly with Leamington Spa. Yeah, so this would be announced, available through our website as well, and we do have the list of companies like who are ready to implement the platform. But yeah, I mean, it would be we are available. I mean, we have our website, and also our marketing team actually recently we recruited our marketing and sales officer. So yeah, it can be approached through our website. We are open to various communication channels, which is one of the things that we are offering at IO, is real-time communication with the customers, between businesses and customers. And that real-time communication means that customers can give their feedback to businesses, and businesses will not just collect that. So that's not the point. So they will take those feedback and reviews, and they evaluate it, especially the negative ones, and react to those negative ones quite quickly. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Lovely. Okay, yes, definitely. I've had a raised hand from Pavan. Don't know whether you would like to ask a question. Just pop it in the chat box if you do, and we'll come back to that. But thank you ever so much for sharing that with us, Khadijeh. I think it's definitely, something that we should all, as I said earlier, we're all being encouraged to support local and shop independent, and it's definitely the best way to get the most out of it, all in one place. So
exactly. Thank you.
Thank you ever
for
so
having
much.
me.
No
Thank
problem.
you very much.
Okie doke. So I'm just going to share with you a couple of opportunities and events that are coming up. So we have our brand new E4f Incubator. So for many of you who have followed Tech Wednesday for years, E4f has been an incubator that we have delivered as Innovation Birmingham campus, and we are now bringing it back as a new start, Entrepreneurs for the Future. So we've helped hundreds of companies over the years, and we're now relaunching it and looking for another cohort of companies. So we launched in June, I believe, June, July, everything's merged into one, but we've already got through the first cohort and we're now taking applications for the second cohort. So really, really encourage you to have a look on our website, see whether you are eligible to join. If you're based in the West Midlands and have a digital or tech-based business, then I encourage you to do so. The programme start date is the 30th of September, and we're taking applications up to the 15th of September. So please do check that out. Have a look on our website. It's just there at the bottom of the screen for you, bruntwood.co.uk/SciTech, and you can follow the business support tab and have a look through at what you can gain from this incubator programme. The next thing to bring to your attention is the 2-day virtual hackathon from Birmingham Open Hack. So this is happening virtually on the 2nd and 3rd of October. So you've got a little bit of time to have a look and check what's going on. So it's back again in its second year. As I say, it's happening in October. It's completely free and it's open to everybody. So whether you've got tech experience or not, like Khadijeh, please do check that out. It's really, hackathons are a super fun way to get to meet lots of new people, like-minded people in the same space. And the prize for this is, it's insane. The biggest prize is the chance to go to NASA HQ. I mean, when are you ever going to get that opportunity again? So please do have a look at the openhack.tech website. They've partnered with the NASA International Space App Challenge, so it's given people the opportunity to team up and solve problems and challenges using NASA's open data. So any information, please head to the website, or if you drop me an email, I can give you a bit more information and put you in contact with the right people from the university who are running that. And then, as I teased at the beginning of the session, next month we are bringing back the summer barbecue. Not sure whether we can quite call it summer in September, but unfortunately, obviously, it has been postponed. So we usually host the barbecue in July. We're hoping that in September 23rd, we all come back together as a community. We're going to have lots of street food, lots of drinks, DJs, and there's even a couple of surprises along the way. So please do come and join us in our physical event. That's from 5:30 on the Thursday, 23rd of September. You can get tickets now. As I say, you are the first people to hear about it, the first time we've announced it. Head to the Bruntwood SciTech Eventbrite studio to get your tickets. And yeah, just really, really looking forward to having everybody back on campus. We're currently going through a refurb in iCentrum, so we've tied it in with the relaunch of that. So we'll have some nice new shiny space to show off and to all just have a really good knees up and get together after what's been such a long, challenging, but sometimes successful 12 to 18 months. So yes, please do join us for that. And that, as well with the barbecue, if you can jump onto that Eventbrite studio, that you'll see all of our business support workshops that we have going on as well. They are at the moment all still virtual. until the refurb has finished. So again, you can just jump on those as and when you please. We've got lots of different subjects coming up. So please do join us for those. And that brings us to an end for this evening. We're a little ahead of schedule, so I'll let you all go and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you ever so much to Khadijeh and obviously to Theo, who for sharing their journeys with us and their wealth of knowledge. If you would like to join us for Tech Wednesday speaker slot, please just drop me an email. Always looking for speakers for these events. My email address there, stephanie.einan@bruntwood.co.uk. And as I say, we don't have a Tech Wednesday next month, but we will be back in October. And I believe October we're having a Geovation takeover. So welcoming back our partners, Geovation, to hear from 3 or 4 of their companies in their latest cohorts about what they're doing and how they're using the Ordnance Survey and the open data that they use, and how that's all been going in the last couple of months that we've not heard from them. So really excited to welcome them back. But before that, make sure you get your barbecue tickets. One final thank you. It's obviously been a wild journey, and for sticking with us through this virtual world that we have all become so accustomed to. I saw a note in the chat box from Steph from Paid White, and that kind of just shows that, you know, these opportunities, whilst we've been virtual, Steph is based up in one of our Leeds buildings, Bruntwood buildings, and it's just opened up the opportunities to be able to connect with new people throughout up and down the UK. So we're really, really thankful, and hopefully, Steph, if we go hybrid, then you'll still be able to join us, and or if not, come down for the barbecue. You're always welcome. So yes, thank you ever so much. I will leave you there for this evening before I start having another sneezing, coughing fit. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you ever so much.